Welcome back to Midpoint. The executive director of the Congressional Prayer Caucus Foundation, Lea Carawan, and the visiting criminal law scholar at the University of Houston Law Center, Melissa Hamilton. Melissa, from Peter Kirsanow, who's a commissioner there from the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, in a letter on Wednesday said that these subpoenas are an abuse of government power. Now, as you look at them, would you agree with that?
Well, as originally drafted, yes, indeed. I think everybody agrees they were overbroad, and the attorneys who issued them have revised them to be much more limited. But I want to be clear here about what might be a misnomer about the law. The law is not attempting to tell religious institutions or anybody else that they're not allowed to articulate and speak against the LGBT lifestyle. That's not what the subpoena is about, and that's not what the law is about. It's basically about the petition process and the legitimacy of the petition process of those who have tried to get on the ballot a repeal of this law. So in those terms, and I have read the language about the revised subpoenas in terms of what they're seeking from these 5 pastors, and I think they did a really good job, and probably should have done it in the first place, about really limiting it to being about this petition process.
Lea, is there any objection whatsoever to this, the way it is then redone and the way that it is changed in order to fit certain terms?
Yeah, of course. Everybody has to ask the question, why? Why in the world did the mayor throw out the petitions of over 50,000 people who want to put it on the ballot? Put it on the ballot.
Well, I think, to your point, the 50,000 signatures, that was submitted by the pastor-led coalition there, and the Houston city attorney, not the mayor, threw them out saying that there were a lot of irregularities in the signatures, so they threw out 35,000 of those 50,000 signatures.
Well, they were pre-verified before they even got there, so I have a real problem with that. But here's the other question. The fact of the matter is this is a process that is constitutionally protected. The citizens have a right to get it on the ballot. The citizens have a right to, pastors, citizens, anybody has a right to object to this ordinance and do whatever they need to do to reverse it.
Lea, is it fair to say that some of the trickiest things that people do here is have to worry about how not to upset the religious community and the legal communities and kind of put everybody together on the same page?
Well, I think it's actually the opposite. If we would just do what the Constitution allows us to do, if we would just simply follow the laws and the policies that are put in place, and if we would allow the folks that have faith and freedom of religion, that freedom, then we wouldn't be having this problem. Because what's happening now is there's a very small minority of people that are coming in and want to erase the majority of people's freedom, and that's what people are objecting to.
All right. Unfortunately, ladies, we are all out of time. We're going to have to call it there. I thank you both for your time today. We'll follow this as it moves along. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Religious freedom is always one aspect of an election cycle. And in this edition of the Newsmax Countdown to the Midterms, we turn our attention to Colorado, where the incumbent governor may need more than a few prayers to hold off his challenges. At one time, it was thought that he indeed would have an easy ride to withhold, to stay, and to hold off the challengers. Not anymore, because as many people have found out in the last couple of weeks and months, Colorado is changing.
From the beginning, this race has been dubbed a toss-up by political analysts, but now it's coming down to the home stretch. Democrat incumbent John Hickenlooper seems to be picking up a bit of momentum. He recently received endorsements from 2 of the state's larger newspapers. He also leads the most recent polls, though not by much and definitely within the margin of error. GOP challenger Bob Beaupre is ready for a tough fight in the final days of the campaign trail. Republicans are pouring money into his campaign in an effort to break up the blue, currently running things in Denver. The Republican Governors Association just committed more than $1 million to be spent on TV spots leading up to Election Day. Many of those ads go after Hickenlooper for issuing a stay in the execution of a man convicted of killing 4 people at a Chuck E. Cheese back in 1993. In a recent debate, Hickenlooper argued that no other, quote, civilized, end quote, nation has the death penalty. The Huffington Post outlines another issue at play in this race, the legalization of marijuana. That happened on Hickenlooper's watch. Even though he opposed the voter-approved measure, he says it's now the state's job to implement what the voters want, but with tough regulations.